Hello everyone, welcome back to the Do the GP podcast. Today we will be reacting to the 2025 British Grand Prix. Now, apologies, there wasn't a prediction video put up last week. Me and Billy, so Billy will say hello in a little while, but just to finish off this part, me and Billy were both at Silverstone, so timing wise it just didn't work out. We did put a few bits up in relation to our predictions on social media, which we'll use. But yeah, no, just getting an actual podcast episode out just wasn't feasible for us. We apologise, but these things happen. Um, we're here now to react to the British Grand Prix. Billy, how are you?
I'm good, man. How's it going?
Yeah, pretty good. Obviously, getting back from Silverstone today, both of us. I think the first part where we want to dive into really is just our time there. I mean, both of us, it's our first F1 race in person. How did you find it from your end?
I mean, the biggest thing I took in was atmosphere. I mean, when I would go to any event, atmosphere is like the biggest thing that stands out to me. But the atmosphere at F1 was just like undescribable and like anything I could describe. And it was so awesome being there with a ton of F1 fans, seeing a track as well that I've raced for years on the F1 game. I know you related to this as well a lot. We're big on the F1 games. And I mean, I know you've played a lot longer than me. I've been playing since F1 2016. So a good while.
Yeah,
And I've done countless laps on that track. And to see it in person, it was just so surreal. Being there, it honestly, I could probably do a whole separate podcast on just how I felt and everything there, all the experiences. I mean, I just had such a great weekend. How did you find it?
I mean, look, I loved it. It was such a surreal experience, and I went into it despite obviously, look, camping, not the most ideal thing. My tent, very cramped. It's built for one man and one bag, and I had three bags, so I was sleeping on bags essentially. So the night's sleep wasn't great, but I was just so excited to, be at the F1 that it didn't really matter. Um, yeah, and off track, everything that could have gone wrong basically went wrong. Uh, but the actual, on track action was absolutely wonderful. I mean, such good racing. I mean, we watched obviously all the feeder series, and every single race was entertaining. I mean, from F4 all the way up to F1. It was really, really entertaining. And like you said, the atmosphere was incredible. Being with so many F1 fans, it's something that I've never had before, and it was such a nice moment. I mean, I made friends with, people sitting next to me in my grandstand. It was really weird, just like obviously it was like the rain, and we started talking about the weather and la di la da. Um, and then yeah, just a whole fan experience. I mean, even off track, all the concerts and entertainment and everything that was provided for the fans made it a really enjoyable experience. I know you loved, particularly the Becky Hill concert on the last night. Um, I mean, it was an interesting one, but yeah, no, a wonderful experience and one that I'd love to do again.
Well, so I do want to talk about the Becky Hill concert because I dragged Bradley far out of his comfort zone. I mean, I'm kind of used to it. We're both people that don't drink, so we're very much not people who go out into clubs or go to festivals much. But I brought him in for this, and he looked so uncomfortable, bless him. But we had such a good time. His associate, as he likes to call it, Jacob, him and I made a friends with a ton of drunk people and probably a little bit more, but I'll leave that one there. And uh, and it was such an amazing vibe, and that was such a great moment. Obviously, you did just mention concerts. Who was your favourite performer out of the ones you saw?
Oh, the ones I saw, I mean, the Idris Elba DJ remix probably has to be up there. That was
Yeah.
a vibe. I mean, it started off strong with the Indian music, and then being able to flow that way, sort of out of that, was quite impressive. But it was just a bit of a laugh. I mean,
Mm.
it's not something I would have expected going into the weekend, but it's something I'm very glad I experienced. And yeah, I don't know about you. Who was your favourite? I mean, you saw a few more than I did.
I mean, yeah, the only one I missed was Fatboy Slim because I was absolutely knackered that day. But for me, Ray was the most talented, which I don't think I thought I would think differently. I think I knew Ray was going to be absolutely amazing. I didn't expect to know so many of her songs, but I surprisingly did. And when she ended with Escapism, I was very happy. But off the pure vibes and the most fun I had, it was Becky Hill, because it was just such a vibe. There's people bouncing, like, it was absolutely incredible, and that was a great moment. What off-track moment would you say was your most fun if it wasn't a concert, obviously?
Well, I mean, we had obviously some great fan interactions. I mean, obviously there was a Lance Stroll fan in that crowd, but of people that you made friends with, who was very much a Lance Stroll fan, much like myself. I mean, sort of the whole crowd just chanting "Oh, Yuki Tsunoda" was something that was a massive vibe as well. Probably walking home that night on the Sunday, I did cost someone 20 quid because they made a bet with their partner. That nobody would be wearing Stroll merchandise, and I unfortunately cost that guy 20 quid because I was wearing my Stroll hat. So there we go.
That's so unfortunate.
It's unfortunate for him.
Think the whole capacity of Silverstone. I saw one other person with a Lance Stroll top, which, first of all, I almost went and just like gave him a handshake and be like, "Fair dues, you are one of like 2 people I know who likes Lance Stroll." And second of all, for them to catch you, it cost 20 quid. That is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. But yeah, I mean, it was such a good vibe. It was amazing. I mean, obviously Friday and Saturday we met up, the GP boys, in real life together. Going around.
Time?
Yes, first time. It was very, very cool. But just, being around, seeing each other, going around all the general admission spots on the Friday. Saturday we stayed at Farm. Obviously, you stayed there for the race as well on Sunday. But yeah,
I stopped at Farm for that.
Yeah, it was a really entertaining one. I mean, obviously, Farm you stayed at for the race. Were there any other spots that you found particularly entertaining to watch from?
Vale was really cool just to see them go onto the start straight, because it just looked like they were on rails. Like, I just can't describe, like, the way that they just flow around the corner and then they just take off. Like, that was so cool to see in person. I mean, obviously we stood at Maccas and Beckett's for practice 1, and that was really cool to see. Just the sense of speed. Yeah. Watching Formula 2 there beforehand, and then watching the Formula 1 cars, it just really showed the levels of how quick Formula 1 is compared to the feeder series. Elsewhere, apart from that, I didn't really go too far elsewhere. I didn't see any on-track action at Luffield. But apart from that, I saw most places. I mean, how did you find the grandstand? Obviously, I went general admission, so I kind of had to get there early, pick up my spot. I mean, that's kind of what we used Friday for, was to figure out, right, where we're going to sit. So how did you find it from the grandstand?
I mean, obviously, being on the grandstand Sunday is obviously no stress because you have your seat guaranteed. You can sort of go in and out when you like. We did have a scare with the tickets, but luckily that got solved. I would have been really annoyed if that hadn't worked, because I got called off the stand to help my mate out, and then he was like, "Oh, you've got the tickets," when I didn't have the tickets, and it's chaos. But thankfully it happened about half an hour before the race as opposed to 5 minutes before the race, because then I would have been stressed. But yeah, no, really nice view. I mean, obviously it being an open top grandstand, so I was on the open top grandstand on the old pit straight, so I get to see, Cox, that entire straight. A bit of Maddox and Beckett's as well. So it's a good view. I mean, obviously, particularly in the F2 race, I found you got a lot of action. Obviously, Browning making his way through. I mean, I know we're an F1 channel, but obviously just speaking about that momentarily, that's where getting a lot of action out of that was really cool to see. And then obviously we'll speak later about a certain incident that happened right in front of me, which was really cool. Yeah, no, it was a good view, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Amazing. Wow. Shall we get on to the race?
Well, actually, one thing I feel like we haven't mentioned is we went on the track.
Yes, we did.
So, I mean, that moment, I mean, like you say about, playing the F1 games, I mean, my first F1 game was F1 2009 on the Wii, which, if anyone's played that game, knows the intrigue that game provides you sometimes when you think of the handling compared to most modern F1 games. But no, I mean, like, I couldn't tell you how many laps I've done around Silverstone across the years on the F1 games, and to be able to, walk the track, I mean, I explored essentially from the start of where Sector 2 starts, so at the end of Wellington Straight, all the way around up to like Tops, Maggots, Beckett's, and just being able to be there and be on the track was such a surreal moment, because you actually get to then understand sort of the curbs and everything. So obviously you hear it and you see it on TV, but actually being able to walk across the curbs is such a different experience, and how obviously towards the track they're relatively flat, but just how aggressive those curbs are when you get further away and more onto them. It's just really cool to see, and it's such a surreal moment to me that I'll always remember. Also, actually, before we move on to the actual racing action, I have this. Now, obviously, for those of you that are listening to this podcast, you won't be able to see this. This is a 2011 Force India brake duct. So that was really cool. I mean, the shop at my campsite just sold plenty of old F1 parts, but this, obviously being a Force India Aston Martin fan, such a cool thing to own. I mean, I love it.
When you told me about it, I was like, that is so sick.
Yeah. And to be fair, 45 quid is not a bad price.
Trust me, compared to everything else you could buy that weekend, that's a very good price.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I will say though, the on-track food, brilliant. Not terrible price-wise. I mean, given what I was expecting it to be, it was actually better than what I was expecting it to be. So, actually sort of okay price-wise. I think the only thing that was quite steep was the program, which was 20 quid.
Yeah.
But, I mean, gotta have that just for the souvenir, essentially. But yeah, no, other than that, the pricings weren't too bad. So, obviously, people looking to go, la-di-la-da, I'd highly recommend it, first off. Absolutely. If you're someone who hasn't been to a race, or even if you have been to a race and just want to go again, it's a great experience, and I would love to do it again.
Oh, for sure. I completely mirror that. I mean, if I can go next year, I'd happily sign up to go again. It's such a great experience. If you're a big F1 fan, small F1 fan, want to get into it, it's absolutely incredible. There's so much happening. I mean, the timetable, I was so shocked to see how much there was going on. There's just a bit of everything. And even if you're just there for the chance of meeting a driver, there's so many opportunities to hear from drivers. I mean, there's spaces set up where you can possibly meet them. I mean, there was just so much going on, and there's just a bit of everything for everyone, which is really cool.
Yeah, no, I fully agree.
All right, and with that, after the false alarm of earlier, let's get started with the race. Obviously, we had some quali stuff, but we're not going to get too into it because I feel like the race just made qualifying absolutely unnecessary completely, because everyone was everywhere. I mean, half the grid wasn't on the grid for the start because they were in the pit lane changing tyres. I mean, weather really took effect on this one. I put on a poncho at least 7 times. I just kept taking it off because it was too hot, and then I had to throw it back on quickly. I mean, how was it from the grandstand?
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those. It was sort of, put the coat on, take the coat off, put the coat on, take the coat off. But yeah, no. I mean, weather was a very key part to this race. I would just like to say, obviously, pre-race, in terms of the action beforehand, number one, what a lap from Max Verstappen to take pole.
Yeah.
I mean, seeing it live, it was brilliant. And it shows the talent he's got and the talent he's capable of, and it's very interesting, especially how the rest of the weekend panned out. Where he'll go next year. I mean, all the rumours are like, oh, he's going Mercedes, la-di-la-da, but I couldn't tell you. I personally still don't think that's going to happen. I still believe he's going to stay at Red Bull next season, but who knows at this point. Obviously, they tried something different with the setup, which worked on the Saturday, got in pole position, but obviously they were praying for a dry race that didn't actually happen. Second off, FP3, I want to say.
Yeah.
Ollie Behrman, ruining his entire weekend with something just really stupid in the grand scheme of things. I mean, just take it easy into the pit lane, don't spin it. And obviously, he had such a good quali that was ultimately meaningless because of what he did in the earlier session.
Yeah. And obviously all of that under red flag as well, which made that so much worse. I think maybe, I don't know if he would have got a penalty for it if it was under normal green flag
he wouldn't
racing.
have got. No, the whole reason was because it was under red flags.
Yeah, so obviously he tried to, for anyone who doesn't know, he tried to emulate going into the pits during a race run during a red flag. And when they pulled up to telemetry after he'd spun out and crashed into the wall, they pulled up telemetry and he was going quicker into the pit lane under red flag than he was during green flag running, which obviously is a big no-no.
Yeah.
And a big 4 penalty points onto his license, which I think that's the biggest penalty points given out from one incident I've seen.
Yeah, I mean, he's now on 8 now, so he's got to be careful.
Gosh, we might have K-Mag replacing him as like he did for K-Mag a year ago.
That'd be a weird turn of events, wouldn't it?
Oh, it'd be funny though, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah, I'd love to see it.
And also another moment, I mean, can you really call it a moment because it didn't really become anything? Colapinto not starting, obviously a dreadful Saturday, spinning out into the wall. I mean, he was nice enough. He must have known we were at farm and just parked it up right in front of us.
Yeah.
So yeah, not a great session for him on the Saturday, and then the Sunday wasn't even a session because the car, they couldn't get out of gear to get going, which left him in the garage and meant his race weekend ended very early.
On a weekend where Alpine have confirmed they're talking to Valtteri Bottas, it's not great. And if they're to make a move, I wouldn't be surprised given what Flavio and Alpine have shown in the past couple of years. But it would be a shame for him.
It would be a shame because, I mean, we saw what you could do in the Williams. Obviously, Alpine, he hasn't really shone as bright as he did in those early days at Williams.
I don't think Alpine's as good a car as the Williams of last year, though.
Well, yeah, exactly that. And I think that's kind of the difference we're seeing. But it'd be a shame for him to go after this weekend because he did really struggle. And seeing what Gasly did in the race, if Colapinto was given the opportunity, you never know. We might have actually seen a 20th driver with points this year, but didn't end up that way. And yeah, it was a shame to see. But I mean, that's the littlest amount of chaos we had this weekend. So we've got plenty to talk about. Obviously, first lap incident between Lawson and Ocon at the loop, which was, I mean, just a bit out of nowhere. I mean, I'm seeing it as a racing incident. I don't think you can throw blame on anyone. It's a fast, tight corner that you need as much speed possible because you've got that straight. But yeah, Lawson sent flying for that one.
Yeah, I mean, if you had to apportion blame, I think I'd lean more towards Lawson than Ocon. I mean, Ocon's just there. He can't really back out with all the cars around him, and then Lawson just sort of shuts the door. Whether he can see him or not is a different question given the conditions. But yeah, it's just unfortunate. Lawson obviously out, and the start of what would be a terrible weekend for the team. But yeah, one of those early instant lap one, and the start of what was to be a very chaotic opening 20 laps.
Yeah, I mean, for those first 20 laps, like Burt Mailander was having a great race out there. He led the most laps, I think, out of all the drivers. But I digress. Obviously, we then had the Bortoleto incident as well, right after the restart. Was it this restart? I mean, there were so many safety cars.
It happened at some point. It was one of those that's really easy to do. So in these sorts of tricky conditions, it's understandable. It is what it is. He'll learn. He's scored points in Austria. He's looking decent, and that Sauber's looking decent, which hopefully will mean the team can get more points. I mean, they've outscored Red Bull since Spain. I mean, Hulkenberg's outscored Verstappen since Spain. So you know, if you want a stat, there you go.
That is a brilliant stat, to be fair. I mean, I didn't even know that one. Obviously, they are now 6th in the constructors, and I think a lot of people, including us, we kind of wrote them off this year. We said, yeah, probably get 10th. I mean, I'll be shocked if Hulkenberg gets points, which is so funny after this weekend.
Yep.
But
glad
yeah,
to be proven wrong, though. It's good to have competitive teams. I mean, obviously with Alpine scoring points as well this weekend, new record's been set for the most amount of points the team 10th or bottom in the constructors has scored. Obviously Alpine are on 19, and it's likely we could easily see all the teams get above sort of 30 points, which is crazy.
I mean, it'd be awesome to see, wouldn't it? We're now at the halfway point. We've just had round 12, and we've had some great races, and I mean, we're seeing some cars develop a little bit, we're getting upgrades here and there. I mean, I think Sauber's done a brilliant job, because that car's definitely different from the car they started with. And we're realising we had a very underrated driver lineup of Bortoletto and Hulkenberg. Obviously, Hulkenberg showcasing his skills this weekend a lot more than Gabby. But, I mean, yeah, those two on absolute top form at the moment, and it's really great to see. Of course, going into Audi next year, that's a really exciting prospect for the whole of F1, I think, to have a new manufacturer. Obviously not the same as the working teams, but yeah, it's going to be awesome to see Audi in the sport, and I'm excited as an Audi fan, and to see that driver lineup. I mean, it just gets me more and more excited for next season, and we're only halfway through this one, so
yeah, no, it's good to see, and hopefully they can just build on this momentum for the rest of the season. Is the main thing they'll look to do.
I mean, I'll happily watch on and see it. Okay, next thing we want to talk about was Hadjar and Antonelli. This obviously led to both of their retirements, one a lot more abrupt than the other. But watching the onboard from the screen, which I will admit was a bit far away, it just looked like Hadjar had absolutely no vision, and that car just came out of absolutely nowhere. You couldn't even see the lights on the back of Antonelli's car, and then all of a sudden he was just in the wall. Obviously, you got a much better view of this, and I'm really excited to hear what you saw of this crash, because you saw a lot more than I did.
Yes, I mean, obviously this crash happened on the old pit straight where I was sat, and we weren't really expecting it. It was one of those, obviously, just going sort of into the braking zone of cops. Obviously, Antonelli's braking early, the conditions are quite bad. Hadjar just looks like he doesn't see him, really. Hits his rear end, and then the car just slides. It goes into the wall, spins, and it doesn't go really on the gravel. There's between the wall and the gravel trap, there's like a small car's width, essentially, of what is tarmac, and Hadjar expertly manages to nail it onto the tarmac, which obviously means he doesn't really slow down that much, and obviously goes quite fast into the barriers. But yeah, I mean, just the sound of it was something that was interesting. Obviously, the squeal of sort of the car sliding. But yeah, we're all obviously just sat there going, well, hopefully he's okay, which obviously he was, but yeah, it was one of those. It was really cool to see, and I mean, I wanted to see something happen there, just because obviously I was sat there, but obviously, not to wish ill on a driver, just because, it'd be kind of cool. But there we go, it's one of those. At that point, obviously, Piastri had overtaken Max and built up a 13-second lead, and Mr. Lando Norris, the lucky lad himself, gets another slice of luck his way with that safety car.
I mean, yeah, this was kind of race-defining. I mean, actually, on second thought, after saying that, this was definitely race-defining, because this led, obviously, to possibly the biggest talking point of this weekend, and that is the Piastri penalty. For those who haven't seen the incident, Piastri was very quick to hit on the brakes as the safety car was ending, and Verstappen just flew straight past him. I mean, Lando only just stopped, and he was in third, so this could have led to a massive crash, and I don't want to say quite rightly given the penalty, because it was very much like you do see breaks like this happen, and maybe if Verstappen didn't go past, it probably would have got missed, probably. But I do remember that miles per hour was being told to me. I think it was 204 miles an hour down to 54, but that seemed too quick for under safety car. Either way, it was a big drop very quickly, and I do think it was dangerous. So I'm going to say the penalty's deserved, but I'd like to hear your point of view on this one.
I mean, it's what was interesting is I think the reason why obviously it sort of felt more extreme than possibly it might have felt for Piastri and why he felt so miffed about it is he's obviously accelerated, he's obviously given a bit of a gap to the safety car, accelerated to catch it back up and then was going to slow down at the end to give the gap because of the visibility. However, at the moment he catches up and slows down, the lights go out in the safety car and safety car ending is called. Because often normally in recent years we've seen it called sort of halfway around the lap or near the start of the lap, as opposed to traditionally the last sector like we used to say like on the F1 games or, stuff like that. And that's what it was called this time. And I think that combined with him slowing down is what made it so extreme.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, it was dangerous. Do I feel the 10 seconds was a bit harsh? Yes. I think if we're given a 5 seconds for that, I think the reason why the 10 seconds was so harsh and so annoying is because it just felt like then there was no plans for any racing at the front to be done then, because Lando doesn't need to fight him now, and 10 seconds was too much for Oscar to catch back up. So it essentially ruined any fight at the front. And I felt like 5 seconds would have got the point across and still been a fair enough penalty. I mean, obviously, people like competitors will go, yeah, the penalty was fair with the 10 seconds. But I also don't believe if 5 seconds was given, they would have turned around and said he should have been given 10 seconds. I think they would have accepted the 5 seconds as like, yes, this is making a point. So I think 5 seconds would have been a more appropriate penalty. It's interesting to me, and I do wonder if Verstappen didn't spin at Stowe, potentially because he was caught out by Piastri with what had happened. I wonder if either they wouldn't have given a penalty or given a lesser penalty. However, they felt that because of what Piastri had done had led to a Verstappen spin, potentially, because he had been caught out and temps were now off compared to what he was expecting, so he's had to do something completely different at a restart. That's why they've escalated the penalty, but it was a shame to see, and the rest of the race from that point on at the front wasn't really a race anymore. It was just two guys cruising, knowing where they were going to finish.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, to be fair to Lando, I could visibly see him catching up to Piastri, but I couldn't see him getting to the point where he would have been able to make the move. Obviously, we'll never know. But yeah, the 10 seconds did kind of kill that fight at the front. Obviously, the penalty was given after Verstappen's spin, which was very much a big shock because we know Verstappen has very little mistakes. I mean, definitely not in the rain. He's an absolute tyrant in the rain. And to see that happen, I mean, I must have been with all the Verstappen haters at the British Grand Prix because the farm absolutely exploded. Like, I think there was maybe one Verstappen fan in there who wasn't cheering. Everyone else was absolutely going for it. And, like, honestly, I cannot describe the noise to you. Like, that noise was louder than Lando actually winning the Grand Prix. And I'm not exaggerating that. Like, if Verstappen spun on the screen, absolute limbs in the farm zone. But obviously, due to that, it did become McLaren versus McLaren, but this McLaren has a 10-second penalty, and this one's kind of been better the whole race. So, yeah, it did kind of kill Piastri's race, and you could visibly tell when he was on stage afterwards, and then also while doing the podium speech, he wasn't happy at all, and he was willing to keep it very brief. So I think he probably also believes 10 seconds was very harsh, but I don't think we'll know away from any PR trained explanation of his thoughts.
No. But yeah, that's, sort of ruined sort of the fight at the front. It's interesting. I mean, I felt for quite a lot of the race, Oscar was the quicker McLaren. There were just certain parts, especially once Lando was in front, that he could then manage the gap when needed. But for the large parts of that race, I felt Oscar was the quicker McLaren. And then, the Verstappen spin, very uncharacteristic. I mean, the last time I remember a mistake like this was Turkey 2020 and those treacherous conditions. But the Verstappen spin left me very conflicted. Because on the one hand, this promoted Lance Stroll into third position. And on the other hand, Nico Hulkenberg was now into fourth. And I was adamant, even when Stroll was in third and Hulkenberg was fourth, and I was saying this to my associate, I will sacrifice this Lance podium if it means Hulkenberg's the man to take it. Like,
Sure.
if I were to pick now, it would be Hulkenberg on the podium, and I'll be like, look, as long as Lance gets solid points, I'll be happy. And so, yeah. I mean, did it make the second half of the race very stressful for me? Yes. But no, it was an interesting moment of the race for me after that point.
For sure. I mean, after that, of course, we get going, and you do have Lance in third, which I was like, of course. I've literally, like, beforehand, myself and then my dad and brother-in-law who I was with, and with Bradley, we were very much taking and ripping into him all weekend about the fact he's a Lance Stroll fan and he had a Lance Stroll hat on, and then he's sitting in P3 and I'm thinking, oh gosh, I'm going to get an absolute earful from Bradley when I see him later. And then Hulkenberg's fourth, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going to be insane. I didn't know if it was going to last. I mean, straight off that start, obviously you have Russell pass Hamilton, then Hamilton makes an amazing move at Farm, double overtake on who was the Haas up front. I believe it was Ocon.
That was Ocon
and
that time,
Russell. Yeah. And that move was insane. I'm so lucky to say that I caught that in person, because that move was unbelievable, and definitely my move of the race personally is the ones I saw. I was lucky enough to see a couple from where I was, and that move was insane. And when I saw that, I was like, oh gosh, Hamilton is going for it. Stroll and Hulkenberg need to go. And obviously, one of them did, one of them didn't. But I still think Stroll had a great race. And I do actually, as much as I hate to say this in front of Bradley, I do think Stroll kind of got hindered by the car this time out. And I mean, Hulkenberg took his car and ran like the wind. And I don't think anyone would have caught him, if I'm completely honest. But seeing those two cars out of place, seeing the Aston Martin and the Stake out of place, that was really cool to see, because it just felt like Jaws the whole time. Because you had Hamilton storming through, you had Verstappen storming through, you were thinking, gosh, well, how is this race going to end? Who's going to be where? Obviously, Russell was good off the line of the safety car, but he didn't really do much with it afterwards. He did make contact with Ocon during that move with Hamilton, which obviously sent Ocon a bit wide, and he got that move. And I mean, it didn't make him any positions because Hamilton's just absolutely blown by him. But I do think that maybe causes pace to slow down a little. I don't know if he got any damage or if there was mention of any damage for him. But yes, seeing Hamilton fly up, and then also Verstappen as well. Like, obviously, it took him a little while to recover from the spin, but once he got going. Obviously, getting Lance at the end, right at the end, I believe, lap 51, he got him. So very much at the end of the race, which is a shame for Lance, because P5 in an Aston Martin at where they are right now is a very great job. Obviously, it would have been a double points finish, and him leading that double points finish. I mean, what a season he's had. Obviously, he's had a couple off races with the injury. I mean, at Austria, I'd say he's very much in no man's land. And then here, he's done an amazing job, really showcased his skill in what was such a crazy race. And I would like to shout out Aston Martin, because their strategy put both their cars in such a great position to get points this weekend. So fair play to the Greens.
I'm gonna slightly disagree on this point.
Really?
Yeah. Strategy with Lance initially was the right call. It worked. It got Lance up there, and was a great idea to put him on the softs, just to let him hammer those softs and then put onto a fresh set of inters. It worked well when it played into our hands. Fine. Alonso got slightly screwed with pitting onto the fresh set of wets and lost a lot of positions. He ended up out the points. Then, obviously, once it dried out, both Aston Martins were put onto softs. The softs weren't the tyre to be on, because they completely died out, and that's why Lance fell like a stone and ended up P7, getting overtaken by Gasly on the last lap. Alonso lost a couple of positions and ended up P9. I think if they'd picked onto mediums instead of softs and they'd done what the Saubers had done, so Saubers played that beautifully with Hulkenberg. And, well, Hamilton and Ferrari also got it wrong, putting on softs, so he couldn't catch Hulkenberg. If we'd gone onto mediums, I think we'd be looking at a P5, P7 finish, and we'd be going, Aston Martin have nailed the strategy that entire race and executed a wonderful finish. We didn't have the pace of the Sauber or the Ferrari, but Lance has beaten a Red Bull and Alonso has done very well to get P7. But ultimately, failing at such a critical point in that race has cost us, 8 points? Which, given how tight that sort of P6 to P9 fight is at the minute, could be massive come the end of the season.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, I don't think about it in that sense from, like, switching on. I mean, obviously, switching on to the dry tyres, like, towards the end of the race. Obviously, there was a couple of people that got that wrong. I'd say George Russell got it wrong the worst. Obviously, it led to him spinning out as well. And then, obviously, Leclerc went very much on a trip across Maggots and Beckett's in the grass. I mean, I think Alonso was actually before both of them to put dries on, but I'm not 100% on that, if I'm completely honest. But
yes, no, Alonso was the first to go on, which also screwed him over. They saw him not improving on his sector times initially, and Mercedes were like, you know what, let's stick dries on. Mercedes completely fumbled the bag in terms of strategy this weekend and cost themselves a lot of points, especially in conditions I felt would have suited their car. But thankfully for us, they did that because it helped us out having one less quick car to deal with. But yeah, it's an interesting one. I mean, that sort of second half of the race, once it dried out, not a lot was really happening. I mean, the entire focus turned to Nico Hulkenberg and can he hold on? Because I think unless you're a massive Lewis Hamilton or massive Ferrari fan, I think even some Lewis and some Ferrari fans are going, just let Nico have it, please. And
I mean, I am one of those people.
well, that's what I mean. It's one of those moments that we need to see, like, how many chances is man gonna get? And it was such a good moment. I mean, obviously, we'll move to the end of the race. There's nothing too much happened. We've spoken about a few battles that are relatively straightforward. Obviously, Lando wins thanks to the penalty, Oscar P2. But Nico Hulkenberg, P3 in a Sauber. Sauber's first podium since the 2012 Japanese Grand Prix with Kamui Kobayashi. Hulkenberg's first podium in 239 Grand Prix. What a moment.
I mean, yeah, this one was absolutely awesome to see. And the crowd at Farm cheered louder when Hulkenberg came past our section than when Lando came past the section. I think this has been such a talking point about Hulkenberg for a long time now, is the fact that he's never been able to get the podium. And I think with this boat of a car that he had at the start of the year, maybe not now, but with the boat of the car that he had at the start of the year, everyone's going, okay, if he gets it this year, this will be insane. But I mean, he did it. He smashed it. The strategy was impeccable by the team. I mean, how's your bottle, right? And he was very good under pressure, which normally when he is around that P3 range, in the past, he has thrown it away. Not this time. He used all of his talent, used all of his experience, and he absolutely smashed it. It was coming down to the wire. Hamilton made one mistake, which I think was very pivotal. Lost him enough ground that Hulkenberg could just run away with it and just keep him at enough distance. But it did feel like jaws for a lot of that race, but especially after Hamilton made a quick, what's the phrase? Here we go.
Quick worker stroll. Are you
quick work? Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Quick worker stroll. Sorry, it is late.
There we go.
Quick worker Lance
I'm
Stroll.
meant to be the tired one here, by the way, because I slept in a tent, you slept in a camper van. So, you know, one of us was on a bed.
It was still a long weekend, man.
One of us was on the bed, thank you very much.
Hang on, I figured out I walked 45 miles this weekend.
Okay.
Just saying, and I think that's enough for anyone. Okay, stop waffling, sign at me, alright? Anyway, moving straight back onto it. Hulkenberg, like, finally getting there. I see you, man, I see you. For anyone watching the video, I'm getting some rights too. It was just amazing to see. Did you see the clip of Gabby Bortoletto running up to him as he got out the car to congratulate him?
Yeah. It was good to see. Also, his daughter obviously celebrating. I don't know who's seen that, but it was so nice to see. And I'm not saying that the Gouda GP podcast is a lucky charm, but we've only been to one F1 race, and Nico Hulkenberg got a podium. All I'm saying, look, Hulkenberg, if you want to pay for us to, attend more F1 races and you get more podiums, I'm sure we can arrange a deal there somewhere. But no, all jokes aside, a wonderful moment and something I'm so glad I've seen.
Oh, it was amazing, and he just looked so ecstatic up there. I mean, he did forget his helmet, which I found quite funny because obviously he's never been there before. Probably doesn't know the procedure. Well, definitely didn't know the procedure. And Lando was nice enough to bring up his helmet into the cool down room. It's just, there's just not any words to describe it. He's been in F1 for 17 years. I believe this is 17th season, 18th season. So for him to do it after 239 starts, and he probably got to a point where it's like, this might not happen, especially in the car that I'm in right now.
I've got this as his 13th season. Debuted in 2010.
I feel like I saw a stat somewhere, but we can figure that out afterwards. Anyway.
He did debut in 2010. Just bless.
Well, yeah, that's fine. yeah, that's fine. That's fine. You know more than me, but that's all good.
I don't know what stats you're saying, but they're not accurate, man.
But yeah, it was. Yeah. I mean,
he took pole in Brazil that year in the Williams.
This doesn't need to be in the podcast. Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about that after the podcast. If you watch the video, we'll put the actual stat up on screen, which I'm going to say this now, so then me, when I'm editing this, will remind myself, and then whoever's right is right. I will say this now because this has been an issue before. This will not count towards a prediction championship just because someone else is right.
This isn't a prediction. Isn't a prediction, so I won't dispute that. I'm not predicting how many years Nico Hulkenberg will be in F1.
I've been burnt before. I'm being safe, everyone. I'm being safe. Anyway, moving on from that. I think this moment was probably the biggest of the weekend. And although Lando, I believe it was written in the stars, he had the Lando stand, so much papaya around the track. It was kind of written in the stars for him to get it. And he achieved it, which not many people do. Obviously, Jenson Button had a torrid time of trying to get a win around Silverstone, and he never did. So for Lando to do it was absolutely incredible. But Nico Hulkenberg on the podium, who would have said that at the start of the year?
No, I know. I fully agree. It's such a great moment, and, it's what the sport is all about, these sort of moments that we hope for, and it means, obviously, since Haas entered the sport, obviously all the way back in 2016, every team other than Haas have achieved a podium finish. So, there we go. I mean, there's a stat for you.
I mean, Haas still haven't achieved a podium position because he did it with Sauber.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said every team other than Haas.
Okay. Fair enough. I thought I caught you out on a blonde moment, but we failed there. You
managed a blonde moment yourself.
That's fine. That is fine. Anyway, let's talk Gouda scale. It's that time of the podcast. I'm just going to run through them. Let us know if you agree with our points ratings for this weekend. So, for Lando Norris, Bradley gave him an 8. I gave him a 9. averaging out to an 8.5. I've got to do maths on the fly because I did not write down the averages. That's okay. Bradley gave Piastri a 7. I gave him an 8, averaging out to a 7.5. For Verstappen, Bradley gave him a 5. I gave him a 6, averaging out to a 5.5. We both agreed for Yuki Tsunoda. We both gave him a 1. We also agreed for Charles Leclerc, giving him a 3. We also agreed for Lewis Hamilton, giving him a 7. Solid drive for him. For George Russell, Bradley gave him a 4. I gave him a 5, averaging out to a 4.5. We agreed on Antonelli with a 4. We agreed on Alonso with a 7. For Lance Stroll, Bradley predictably gave him a higher number with a 9. I gave him an 8, averaging out to an 8.5. Albon, we both agreed on a 7. Bradley gave Sainz a 7. I gave Sainz a 6, averaging out to 6.5. We agreed with the Alpine drivers, giving Gasly an 8 and Colapinto a 1. I mean, he didn't really have much time to prove himself after the quali mistakes, so yeah, not much he could do there. Hadjar, Bradley gave him a 4. I gave him a 5, averaging out to 4.5. We agreed for Liam Lawson, giving him a 3. For Behrman, Bradley gave him a 3. I gave him a 4, averaging out to 3.5. For Ocon, we agreed on a 3. For Bortoletto, we agreed with a 2. And for Nico Hülkenberg, Bradley gave him a season's first 11. I gave him a 10, averaging out to a 10.5. Well done to Nico Hülkenberg this weekend.
I think the 11 is fully justified here.
For sure. I mean, I think something that went under the radar is the fact he started 19th. Whose first podium started in 19th position?
Nico Hülkenberg. Should I say Nico Hülkenberg? One thing I would like to mention about Sainz, obviously you gave him a slightly lower rating. One thing we didn't mention is that Charles Leclerc took him out, and that meant Sainz didn't get points this weekend. This happened quite late on and wasn't actually broadcasted. But yeah, so that was quite unfortunate for Sainz because he was on for a decent result.
I didn't actually know about that, so there you go. I probably would have ranked him a bit higher if I knew that. But that's good to know. Good to know. I didn't have a clue. Let's move on to driver of the day. I think everyone in unison right now, and I'll let Bradley take it away. Who is driver of the day for everyone?
Nico Hülkenberg.
If you want a drinking game for this weekend, take a drink every time that is said. If you were at the track, you would be absolutely paralytic.
Well, I know a few people that definitely played along at the track.
What? Anyway, let's go to Under the Radar. I have given Under the Radar to Pierre Gasly. Great race from him. I mean,
you changed your Under the Radar?
I did, because I did originally pick Alonso, then I realised that I looked at his final result as his quali result.
Yeah, well, that caught me slightly off guard. So I was like, I'm pretty sure that's what I picked. No, I don't know if I picked that.
You did actually pick.
I did pick that. Yeah, no, I wasn't quite sure. I wasn't misremembering, but yeah, no. Okay, go on.
Yeah. Anyway, but if you can't tell, we're both very delirious. Maybe some more than others. Maybe one of us has a lower level of delirium than the other. AKA, I make more mistakes and blonde moments anyway. So bear with for this podcast. I promise you, things aren't normally like this, though sometimes it is for one of us. Yeah, I gave it to Gasly. Great race. Alpine did a great job with him. Obviously, only have to focus on one car. Would it have helped? I don't know, because it was a bit all over the shop. And Mercedes had one car for a majority of the race and still didn't do much with it. So big shout out to Pierre Gasly, who didn't think he was going to be able to do much this weekend. He said that on the Thursday. He was hoping for rain, and yeah, he capitalised on it. I believe P6 in the end. We'll get that confirmed.
Yes.
Yeah, P6. So great job from him. Also great quality result from him. So yeah, big shout out to the Frenchman.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've matched you with Pierre Gasly amazingly. I didn't go for Lance Stroll driver of the day, and I didn't go for Lance Stroll under the radar, which might surprise a lot of you because, as you know, big Lance Stroll fan. But no, Pierre Gasly. I mean, you look at the practice results, and Alpine were absolutely nowhere. He storms in on the Saturday and starts acting like it's nobody's business, that he's just going to turn up, cement himself in that top 10, and off he goes. And he did well in the race to capitalise and score some big points for Alpine. They're still bottom of the constructors by a fair margin, but it's interesting to see what he can do in a better car, because Alpine is just a bit of a dog at the minute.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Shock of the race. Now, I do have two. First of which being Bradley being 5 rows into a Becky Hill concert. That was a great moment to see. Pretty shocking though as well, because you could tell it just out of the conversation. But for my actual shock of the race, it is Max Verstappen and his mistake. Obviously, Piastri kind of rattled him a bit and probably got him very out of sync for the restart, caused that mistake. But I would not have put my money on him to be the one to make the mistake in the rain out of the drivers up front. So, I mean, yeah, that was my biggest shock of the race. What was your shock of the race?
For me, well, first off, the fact I was there, which, never happened before. That is a first in history of me actually being at an F1 race, which is insanely cool. In terms of any on-track stuff, I should also point to the fact I was actively cheering against the Lance Stroll podium, which is another massive shock. But, I mean, just how unpredictable the weather was and how many teams simultaneously messed up but also nailed the strategy at various points. It's very interesting. Because normally you feel like surely one team will nail the strategy and another team will just completely ruin it. But no, it felt like a lot of teams did well on the transition onto the new inters and then struggled when picking onto the slicks, or others really nailed the choice onto the slicks and struggled when picking onto the new inters. It felt like the only team that was really consistent the whole way through was Sauber with Hulkenberg, and that's how he got his podium, and obviously brilliant driving as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've got nothing to add to that. One final thing, obviously, this podcast is a bit different because we were there. So I want to end this podcast and just say, overall, best moment of the weekend for you. What would you say?
That's such a tricky one. Is this including off-track stuff?
Yep, absolutely everything that happened on that weekend. What was the best moment?
Man, that's so tricky.
Anything.
I'm going to be really nice, and because I'm a nice man, and I will say my favourite moment of the weekend was on that Friday, meeting my co-host Billy for the first time in real life. It was a very strange and surreal moment. It's also really weird because you sort of get an idea, and obviously seeing someone on camera is obviously very different to seeing them in person. And obviously, I don't know if you feel the same way about me, but I feel like when I see you on camera, when I met you in person, you looked really different.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that.
It was really bizarre, and that took me a little while to get used to, because you look different to how you are on camera, and I was like, hang on a minute, this is interesting. So I didn't recognise you at first. You sort of nodded at me and walked over, and I'm like, who's this guy? And then realised,
catfished.
Well, that's what I mean. But yeah, no, and obviously we're the same height as well, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, we did verify that. It's really funny you say about different, looking different in real life. I was actually going to make a comment about your eyes as a little joke.
What do you mean about my eyes?
Your eyes are so in real life. They're so much more I don't know how to describe it. They're just different to on camera. So if you ever meet Bradley in real life, just make a comment about his beautiful eyes. Anyway. I really tried to set up a straight face. I couldn't. I mean, I was going to.
Well, that's really mean. You saying you can't sincerely say that I have beautiful eyes?
That's not the bit I was laughing about. But anyway, I was also going to say my favourite bit was spending a majority of the weekend with Bradley. I mean, it's really cool. I'm sure we've probably said this on the podcast before, but we've known each other for about 2.5 years, meeting through Twitch, just jumping each other's streams just purely off coincidence. It's such like a butterfly effect of what happened, and we were fortunate enough to meet in such a like cool place, and we're able to experience a thing we both absolutely love, and it was just a great experience. And getting to do that with one of my really good friends that I can now call an offline friend as well as an online friend is very awesome. And yeah, I will glaze that moment. For anyone who wants a moment away from both of us meeting, I will say the Becky Hill concert was amazing, and we had some great fun. Bradley's associate and I making friends with very, 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 very drunk people and having a great time at that. I mean, his associate made a very great bet with someone who was drunk enough to bet their entire house that Lance Stroll will win the championship next year. So, I mean, we're going to have a very, very exciting championship next year if that's the case. So, yeah, I mean, I just had to get that on the podcast because it was an absolutely awesome experience. And that, I mean, I could be here all day talking about how amazing this weekend was, but yeah, it's just can't put it into words.
Yeah, no, I agree. A couple of things before we go. One of them slightly funny, one of them sort of serious. Well, I say serious, it's not really serious, but like as in like relevant to like the podcast. So we'll start off with that one. My associate, obviously we've mentioned him a couple of times through the stream. He was with me for the weekend. Was meant to be on the podcast tonight, sadly couldn't make it. We will aim to get him on the podcast at some point this season. Obviously, you know, I have some contact to sort of the media world in terms of the sport. So that's who we'll be bringing onto the stream. So that'll be really exciting when we get that. Our first sort of like guest star. Secondly, I don't know if I've mentioned this on the podcast, but one of my nephews at one point a little while ago told me I look like Franco Colapinto. That I didn't really see, but according to Billy and my associate, I kind of apparently look like Franco Colapinto. But this weekend, I was struck by a fan on the Friday and got told I looked a lot like Oscar Piastri. So, I mean, I look at Oscar Piastri and I look at Franco Colapinto, and I don't really think they look alike. And I also don't think I look like either of them. But they're two quite handsome young men, so I'm not going to complain. I will take the compliment and I'll run away with it. So I just want to point that out. You know, any other F1 drivers you think I look like, please do let me know, because I will be fascinated to see what people say.
I mean, for anyone who is watching the video version, do let us know in the comments, does Bradley look like any F1 drivers, and if so, which one? And if it's like a specific feature of his face, point it out to us, because we would love to know. We would absolutely love to know. And yeah, I'm sure we can make some funny pieces of content around that, but that's for a later date anyway. So yeah, I believe that's everything, because we could make this a 10-hour podcast of us talking about the whole weekend. So I'm going to cut us off short before I ramble anymore. I've waffled this whole podcast. I'm sorry. And we'll see you next time for the Belgian predictions. Thank you guys so much for the love you've given us on TikTok this week. Sorry we couldn't get our predictions out to you, just didn't work out. But yeah, we will be regularly scheduled for Belgium. Thank you so much. And yeah, we'll see you next time out. Bradley, do you have anything to add to that?
Hey everyone, this is Billy, but a few days later. I realised we didn't actually go over the prediction championship after this weekend. We were really tired, to be fair, so you're going to have to bear with on this one. Now, Bradley is away in sunny Spain, so it is just me for this section of the podcast. We didn't do a predictions podcast before being in Silverstone. We planned to do it while we were there. Couldn't really find the space, couldn't really find the time. So sorry we did miss last week's podcast. But if you follow us on TikTok, you would have saw that we did a mini video to show who we predicted. I have got the predictions here. So if you don't have TikTok, or maybe you don't follow us on TikTok, which I really would recommend you do. We have some pretty cool stuff on there. We have a lot of fun with it. If you like the things we do and you want a little bit more of us, maybe that's something you want to go to do. Anyway, I'll stop selling the TikTok as much as I'll keep going on about it and keep throwing call to actions at you. Let's go over the predictions. So for Shock Q1 exit, I said Franco Colapinto, which of course was correct. And Bradley picked Oliver Bearman, which Oliver Bearman decided to throw out one of his best qualifying performances of the year. Obviously, he did start back in, I believe, was P18 after the 10-place grid penalty that he got in practice. But he didn't get knocked out in Q1, so no points for him. For pole position, we both agreed, and we both predicted Lando Norris. Of course, Lando getting third. So close, yet no cigar for us. 0 points in that section. For the podium, going from first to third, I went Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri, and George Russell. Obviously, George Russell was a major mistake for me. But that's okay. It looked like it was going to be cold, so I went for it. Didn't pull it off, but I did get Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri in the right place. So that's 2 points for me on the podium. Bradley went the other way, and he struck out, but was so close. And with a few little changes, he could have got all three of these, if I'm completely honest. Like, if Hülkenberg didn't have the drive he had, and Piastri didn't get the penalty, he probably would have been the first person this year to get all 5 points you can get if you get all three right. Anyway, so he picked Oscar Piastri to win. He picked Norris for second place and Hamilton for third, which, how close was Hamilton? Obviously, we're happy to see Hülkenberg win it, but Hamilton was like Jaws for the last couple of laps. He ran out of time. Now, this is the easy one. Best constructor. We both picked McLaren, which gives Bradley his first point of the weekend, and it puts me on 5 points for the weekend. And driver of the day, I mean, obviously, we agreed on Nico Hülkenberg. The fans agreed on Nico Hülkenberg, but we didn't pick him as our predictions. I picked George Russell, thinking he was going to have an absolute blinder this weekend, and Bradley picked Lewis Hamilton. So both of us picking our third place guys to get driver of the day didn't quite pull off for us. But with that is our predictions. Only a short run through. I mean, we don't really have much to discuss. I've got no one to discuss with. So, yeah, here's a little update for you. So going into this weekend, Bradley was on 36. I was on 35. Coming out of this weekend, I get back into the lead with 40 points. If my maths is correct, hang on, let me just figure it out. And yes, I am. 35 plus 5. That is 40 points. Bradley, just the 1 point this weekend, putting him up to 37. So there's a 3-point gap in the prediction championship going into Belgium. Of course, we've got a couple of weeks to wait. So I'll bask in the fact that I have the points lead back to myself once again. But we'll see how it goes in Belgium. So yeah, I mean, thank you guys for watching this last bit of the podcast. I'm going to throw you over to the actual outro we did. So Bradley will be back. Awesome. Right. See you guys soon.
No, other than, thank you all for your continued support. Long may it continue, and whilst we're still having fun, we will aim to deliver as good quality content as we can to you guys across, the podcast, the TikToks. We've done quite a few over the weekend, sort of being at Silverstone. And yeah, we'll have a few more clips of any on-track action over the next coming days as well.
For sure. And with that, thank you guys so much for listening or watching, and have a good day. See you next time.
Ciao.